I may be stating the obvious here, but I would say in life one should never underestimate the value and importance of friends. And by friends, of course, you will know I do not mean mere acquaintances or colleagues at work and that sort of thing. I mean people who you can class as true friends. And some have one friend, that's all you need. Others have quite a few. Those who say that they have dozens, if not hundreds, of friends, I would somehow doubt, but no doubt it is possible. My experience with people in general over the years is that people have a very, very small circle of close friends. And as I say, that could number anything from one to three or so. If you get beyond that and you've got sort of half a dozen really close friends, the question of confidence or confiding in people becomes of interest. I mean, would you confide in half a dozen people? Or would you be more inclined to confide in one or possibly two people, maybe on different subjects or different aspects of your life? I don't know. I feel that I'm fortunate in that I do have a couple of very close friends, and interestingly enough, I don't treat them both the same in terms of the confidences that I convey to them. Because they do have different personalities and different views in life, and so you do pick and choose. That's a good argument for having more than one close friend, I suppose. And then the other factor is that you don't always get to choose. You can't say to yourself, well, goodness gracious me, I think I'm going to settle on 3 or 4 very close friends. In life, it does take some time to form friendships and develop bonds that will withstand the test of time. A friend is someone who is going to stick with you through the good and the bad. And we've seen so many instances, all of us in life, where people have had friends that they've deemed to be close and good friends who've deserted them in times of need, who've deserted them when things have changed, have deserted them when perhaps they have lost their fortunes, or there's been a marriage breakup and sides have to be picked, and they have found that they are not the one who has been favoured with the continuation of the friendship. I guess all that makes sense if you think about it, but it is a subject to dwell on. But friends come in many, many forms as well, and they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I can think of people who've been very good friends of mine over the years, and I don't see very much of them at all, but I do class them as extremely good friends, and they always will be. I think I have had some people say to me, well, you know, if I insulted you or called you a terrible name or had a violent argument with you, I guess I would be removed from the friend list. But here we're talking about friends, not necessarily close friends. And my answer to that is, if I class you as a friend, or if we together consider ourselves friends of one another, then that friendship, I would like to think, should be strong enough to withstand a little bit of turbulent weather. For instance, if a good friend of mine turned around and called me an effing bastard or an effing C or whatever you want, for whatever reason, that to me would not be grounds for diminishing or terminating the friendship. I like to stick with people through thick and thin. That's just me. So there you have it. Well, just while we're on the subject, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who is currently 24 hours away from finishing the France's Camino, the French Camino that runs across the Pyrenees and goes through to the finish, Santiago de whatever, Camino. I should know, shouldn't I? Anyway, she sends these updates on Facebook on almost a daily basis. Absolutely spectacular, beautiful photographs of the countryside through that way, and it is delightful. You can see why there is an attraction for people to walk 800 kilometres. I mean, that is a phenomenal distance. And this young lady, I say young lady, she's early 50s, she's doing between 25 and 30 kilometres a day. Now that, I mean, if I was confronted with the prospect of having to walk that distance every day, I'm sure I would be almost hospitalised from heart palpitations or something equally as serious. But so she's done extremely well, and should be very, very proud of herself. And I'm sure that when she comes back, she'll have a lot to talk about. In fact, she did the Portuguese section of the Camino last year, so she's no novice at these sorts of things. And I do feel that perhaps she'll go on to walk some of the other great tracks or walks of the world, of which there are many. I think there's one in Japan which is gaining popularity, and it moves through some lovely old villages and so on and so forth. So, great way to keep fit, excellent way to meet people. Vanessa has met some absolutely wonderful, interesting, fascinating people, all levels of fitness along this track or trail. Some people, of course, walk sections of the Camino. They'll do 100 kilometres. They still get a certificate. But Vanessa has done the whole hog, and she has mentioned in her posts that there are many others who are doing the same. There's a cardiologist from Canada, apparently, who's just about to finish, similar time to her. There's a 78-year-old man who walks the Camino every year, and I'm not sure if he walks this particular one or one of the others, but apparently he's done it 16 times. He's 78. Now, how fit must that gentleman be? Absolutely inspirational. So that's a story, a little bit of a side story on a person I consider to be a friend. I've known Vanessa since she was very, very young, and she's the daughter of a very old friend of mine. Unfortunately, her mother died 20 years ago, but you know, she's obviously likely to be, if she was still alive, she would be extremely proud of Vanessa. So, and we all are, of course, as her friends. Looking forward to her return in a few days, and to hear more tales of the wonderful trip that she has done. But there it is, friends, folks, acquaintances, colleagues, whatever you might like to call yourself, followers, maybe, subscribers. Well, there are not too many of those at the moment, so hit that button, please, for goodness sake. I don't cherish the thought of talking to myself endlessly. And until the next time, ciao.